Congratulations, you're joining jazz band. It's one of the coolest classes you can do in school, and it's just a ton of fun. So today we're going to go over the do's and don'ts of jazz band and see what we can help you get to make your journey ever the more better. Stick around. Howdy everybody, my name is Andrew King. We are here at Alamo Music. Don't forget to visit us at alamomusic.com where we have a bunch of instruments available for you and a bunch of accessories as well that are going to be helping you in your journey with jazz band. Jazz band is awesome. It's the place where you get to play a bunch of unique music that's rooted in American culture, and it's really just a place that you don't get a lot of opportunity in other areas. Concert band's one thing, you get into marching band, there's a lot of things to go with, but when you get into jazz band, there's just a ton of awesome music available to you. And so today I just kind of want to walk through like kind of things to expect, what to go into, and maybe the things that you need in order to make that journey a little more prepared, you know? So if you're a saxophone player going into jazz band, it's going to be kind of weird going into it at first. It's way louder, you're playing right up front, and you're doing pretty much everything that you remember the flutes and the clarinet players were doing then. Now, when we're in concert band, saxophone players are typically going to be playing supporting melodies, you know, playing like French horn parts. Maybe the tenor saxophone player is going to kind of be mirroring what the baritone's doing. But in jazz band, it's all you. You're going to be playing a lot of the melody lines. You're going to be playing a lot of the overarching themes of the songs that you play, and you're going to be being used as much more as a vehicle for solos as well, which is something to think about. I totally recommend checking out any of the other content creators on how to improvise and whatnot from there. This is not a video for that. But we do have here a good place to talk about what kind of gear you're going to be needing. And one of the cool things to get when you get into jazz band is looking into the different kind of mouthpieces that they have available. Usually when you're coming from there, you're going to be having your stock mouthpiece. Maybe you have your Yamaha 4C, or maybe you have, you know, maybe that C-Star or that Optimum Van Doren mouthpiece that you got for beginner band, the one that the school recommended you to get. Well, here in jazz band, you're going to be needing a different kind of tone, and that kind of requires you to have a different kind of mouthpiece. Now, you can use those other mouthpieces. That's totally fine. But the big thing is that you do want to kind of have more of an authentic presence when you're playing, especially from the beginning, so you can get up there as soon as possible. The one I recommend the most is definitely going to be the Meyer 6 mouthpiece. It's a great mouthpiece to start on. It's very much like your C-Star, and the moment you put it on, the moment you try playing it, you're gonna feel the difference right away. The Meyer 6 is just really good, well-rounded. It can be used sometimes as a classical piece, not really a lot, but it just has warm enough of a tone to kind of bridge the gap between going from these nice classical mouthpieces over to those hardcore serious jazz pieces, like the more metal pieces and everything with the huge baffles and whatnot. You can also go in the direction, if you say you're like a tenor saxophone player, I also totally recommend anything from Auto-Link as far as the Tone Edge series. Those are great for starting out on. It's the same kind of case for the Meyer series. Just a great mouthpiece to kind of sit down and get on, and it plays great. I totally recommend it. When you get into, say, you're playing on Barry saxophone or anything like that, anything from Rousseau is fantastic. They are a little pricier, but anything for the Barry sax is going to be that way anyway, so you might as well kind of drop the little more money for that good mouthpiece. If you want something a little cheaper, there are some saxophone mouthpieces from Meyer and from Jody Jazz as well that are fantastic for what you're looking for there. I totally recommend any of the brands from them, and we do have a bunch of those available on our website as well if you want to check that out. Now, as far as any kind of trombone players go, this is going to be a new thing. So when you start in concert band, you start on that pea shooter trombone, and eventually you're going to upgrade into a trigger trombone. Trigger trombones are awesome. They help you. You just press a little button, a little lever right there, and it switches your key to your instrument so it's easier to reach certain notes. You're also getting a bigger bore, so you're able to play harder into the instrument, push more air into it, and you're just going to be able to just play bigger. Well, when you join jazz band, what ends up happening is you might as well just go back to that pea shooter. A lot of the time with these kind of smaller, for big band music and jazz band in general, you're going to be wanting kind of the versatility of that pea shooter trombone, or at least getting an upgraded version with a better bore size and everything like that, because it's going to just be easier to play those kind of notes. jazz band trombone players tend to be much more percussive. So you're going to be wanting to have a little bit easier time with the air. If you're playing super high, it's really hard to do that with the bigger large bore trombones, the large shank mouthpieces. So it's sometimes easier to kind of stay on that pea shooter and use that because you're going to be hitting super hard, super fast. You're going to be playing some really cool melodies as well. But a lot of the time the trombone players, along with the trumpets, end up kind of being more of like a percussive effect in the song. So I would definitely recommend, if you're going to be doing that, see if you have your pea shooter trombone. Maybe you saved it for using in marching season on the side. That's great to use during jazz band. The other thing to look into is like the mouthpieces and whatnot. Bach makes some great mouthpieces, but any of the mouthpieces that you use now are great. I would recommend, if you're going into it, a shallower cup is always a good thing. If you're the bass trombone player, you're going to be end up mirroring what the bari sax is doing most of the time, a lot of time actually, or what the bass player is doing, because you're going to be holding up that bottom line. So I would definitely recommend not going super harsh in the cup, because you don't want to be able to like just not be able to play some of those notes, but have a cup the size that's comfortable to play in that mid-range, the mid-low range, because you're going to be supported by some very good instruments in the first place anyways. If you're going to be playing a lot of the third and fourth parts, those are great too. I definitely recommend having a good mouthpiece for that as well, especially for lead players. You're going to be playing a lot of solos too, especially like funk charts and stuff like that, or maybe even more of those like vocal tunes from like the 50s and the 60s. So having those and having a good mouthpiece is always a good thing to have. If you're going to be playing trumpet, you're going to be kind of seeing a split. First and second trumpet kind of have very distinct responsibilities from each other. So one chair is going to be playing a lot of these solos, so playing a lot in the mid-range, while one of the other chairs is going to be playing a lot of the high stuff. So having a piece or a material that's good for those is very just a good idea in general. I totally recommend, if you're going to be playing those lead trumpet spots where you're going to be playing super high, having a mouthpiece with a shallow cup makes that a lot easier. Definitely practice before doing that, and keeping your chops up, because trumpet is kind of one of the most physically daunting instruments out there, especially playing on that high end. So making sure you're keeping your chops up and practicing over a long period of time is a very good idea. I mean, it's good for any instrument for sure, but if you're going to be playing trumpet, it's definitely so, doubly so. The solo chair and everything like that, having a very good, nice medium-sized board mouthpiece is always a good idea. You kind of want to have that mellowness to your sound for playing those solos, depending on the kind of music that you're playing and stuff. I totally recommend, if you're going to be playing on like the second chair or maybe even the third or fourth, looking into purchasing a flugelhorn is a great choice, because there's a lot of cool tunes out there that need that really soft, mellow tone from the flugel, and you're only going to get it from that. So looking at investing into that when you're joining jazz band, you're going to have a lot more access to more cooler songs. Ton of cool stuff. I'm a huge fan of stuff like Lush Life, some great tunes that make great use of the flugelhorn. If you're going to be in the percussion section, there's no better place than Alamo Music to look into getting some really cool guitars and basses. Getting a jazz bass is always a good idea. Also, looking into the kind of different options you have for a double bass is great. A lot of the time, they're going to be taking a kid from the orchestra program and putting it in there, so you're going to be playing a lot of stuff, not just with the bow, you're playing a lot of pizzicato stuff. So having a good double bass is a great idea. Electric double basses are fantastic options if you're not wanting to drop that $10,000 that you might have to spend on a double bass or whatever the school provides. So definitely look into kind of the options that you have in that. Getting a good bass amp, I totally recommend anything from Fender, anything from Ibanez. Those are fantastic. Black Hat is also a fantastic option for that. And getting something with just a nice low-end subwoofer and everything like that is great. If you're a guitar player, anything like the 335s are great. Those are fantastic guitars, and you can totally check out our other channel, Alamo Music, where we have a bunch of guys. Chris and Cooper are great at explaining some of the best stuff about that. Give us a call too. We have tons of those kind of guitars available on our website, and great thing to check out. I also totally recommend, if you're a drummer, looking into drumsticks with smaller heads. I have a good buddy of mine. When you're going into like marching band, you're going to get big snare sticks. When you start, you're getting like the FD, SD1s, and those are great. But when you're playing on drum set and you're playing with that, you can't have those huge drumsticks on the drum set. It's just, not only is it going to hurt it, you're playing with a lower tension instrument, so you want to have a smaller hit size on those sticks. Anything like 5A, 7A, I know a guy that uses like the 8Ds, those are great too. So I totally recommend looking into different kind of sticks for jazz band. Having a good kit is always preferential. A lot of schools will provide a kit, but if you're looking for a decent one, I totally recommend anything from Yamaha. They are fantastic, and those will really help you in the long run as far as having a kit that you can kind of upgrade modularly, which is what, and it's a lot of what drummers do in the first place anyways, so just kind of upgrading the kit as you go, but you can get really good kits for like $400, $700. That kind of come with everything, and then you kind of just go from there. So if there's anything else that you were kind of wanting to look into, feel free to leave a comment. What was your first instrument when you joined jazz band? There's tons of cool stuff out there. I remember when I played my first time in jazz band, we had so many members in it, I was kind of just allowed to play the soprano saxophone the whole time. Might not have sounded the best, but it was really fun. I got to use a really cool little curved soprano. It was really fun. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to leave a like and hit that bell icon if you want to get notified when the next video is coming out. We have a lot more coming out soon, especially in the saxophone world, and I really appreciate you guys coming out. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day.